going on, guys? Hope you had a really good week. Welcome back to another episode of Ryan Reviews. Today we're going over Delicious in Dungeon. My name's Ryan Hernia, aka Never Lose Heart, aka Konoha Cafe, aka one half of the Snack Pack duo. And today we're talking a little bit about Delicious in Dungeon, episode 4. So episode 4 takes place like almost directly after episode 3. Duh. But in episode 3, they kind of like ran into a pack of like magical armor, and then in that armor, turns out that it was just like a bunch of little alien mollusk, like slug type monsters, and yeah, they defeated them easily. So if you were just to visit your cousin for whatever reason, they were watching Delicious in Dungeon, and you just sat down on episode 4, you'd probably be like, is Senshi the main character? Our dwarf party pro tag? Is he the main character? It feels like. Is this actually a dungeon farmer simulator anime? There might be a market for that. Maybe, I don't know, probably not. But yeah, so in this episode, it really feels like Senshi takes like the reins of the main character for like the entire 26 minutes. And yes, 26 minutes. Usually anime episodes are like 22, 23 minutes long. I checked. Delicious in Dungeon is averaging at 26 minutes an episode. Not the biggest jump ever, but it definitely breaks the mold. So in this episode, they're on level 5 now, I want to say, of this dungeon, and like they run into Senshi, the dwarf man's like one of his hideouts, it feels like. And in this time that we spend with him and the party, we've learned that Senshi is kind of, I don't want to say trafficking, using, partnering? But partnering wouldn't be a good word either, I don't think. But anyway, Senshi is using big golems made of like the earth and soil as like his cheat code for more vegetables. And I don't want to say partner with golems, because like, I don't think they get anything out of it, because they come to life, they make his vegetables, and then he slays them, and then they kind of go back to sleep. They kind of go back to sleep. So, and they're kept in one room the whole time. So it's like, what kind of existence is that? I don't know. So this episode should be called Senshi Villain? Question mark? This guy essentially keeps like living creatures, or I'm not sure they're living, these living magical creatures inside of a room, goes over there every once in a while, kills them, takes the vegetables, and leaves them to come back to life slowly. It's wild. Anyway, moving forward. So the party has a nice vegetable stew with some like bacon, and it's pretty baller, and they love that shit. They're going crazy for it. But they have so many vegetables now, so many vegetables left over, that they're like, well, we can't fucking throw this away. What a waste. So they walk a little further down to like a underground dungeon tavern, and they walk inside. There's a bunch of like criminals there, and there's a bunch of like thugs and stuff like that. And the barkeeper's like, what are you buying, stranger? What are you selling? I'll buy that at a high price. That's a really, really, really ancient like reference. If you guys get that, let me know in the comments. The barkeep is like, fuck you! We don't want any of your vegetables. We like alcohol. But just then, as the barkeeper is being a total asshole, a bunch of orcs, like just like a bunch of huge humanoid, like beast pig-like creatures come in, and it's so weird. Slaughter like everyone in there except for Senshi's party. And it's just like, what? It went from like wholesome slice of life, maybe Senshi's a trafficking fucking weirdo, to like an absolute slaughter. It's the tone in this episode is everywhere. But I digress. So the orcs are killing everyone, and then look over at Senshi, and they're like, hey, what the fuck are you doing with these guys? So it becomes clear that Senshi knows these murderous orcs, and Senshi's like, hey, do you want these veggies? Orcs are like, nah, like the red dragon that you guys are pursuing, that you guys are hunting, it actually took over our village. It's like made our village into its hunting ground, and we've actually had to move up a few levels. We're actually gonna take your veggies off your hands for free. And then Senshi's like, nah, how about we go and visit your temporary village? Party, the murderous orcs, and SENSHI, the trafficker, go on down a few more levels. They arrive at the orcs' temporary hideout, and essentially is that like, they're kind of in this weird little holding cell kind of, and all the orcs are like kind of like dicks. They're all like just like miserable assholes, because I guess like they've been like kind of driven out of their home twice now. The main orc leader that took them down to their temporary hideout, and Marcelli, their elf wizard party member, they get really into it because she's like a history buff and he knows their tribe history, and they kind of both recollect what happened on the surface world very differently. Orc's like, you burned our caves and drove us out, and then the elf girl, Miss Marcelli's like, fuck you, you guys burned our village and raped our women and killed our men. And Orc's like, well, fuck you, you stuck your balls where they don't belong. The way that Delicious and Dungeon frames and like paces the conversation, it's never boring. Like, yes, they're going back and forth. Yes, they're shooting knives back and forth to each other, but the comedy relief of SENSHI and even the orc's baby, orc's baby is in this conversation as well. It's so fun. It's so fun. The pacing, the paneling, the cinematography, dare I say, for an anime, it's actually a lot of fun. And then the whole time as they're arguing back and forth, SENSHI is having the whole rest of the party make and knead bread. They're kneading the bread, they're making the bread for the whole village, and bread's done, and then the orc guy's like, fuck you, this is for my village, this is for my people, thanks, bitch. Then the little baby orc is like, wait, hold on, daddy, why can't we all just share this shit together? And then the party, and I think some of the villagers eat the bread and some meat and some veggies, and they have a grand old time. And they kind of see that they're not so different, you and I. Orcs, humans, whatever Chimchak is, freaking the elf lady and the dwarf, we're not so different, you know? We all have a butthole. We all have 2 eyes and 2 lungs and a heart that beats and shit. We can all share a meal. Come on. So at the end of the episode, the orc leader has a change of heart, obviously, even though just 5 minutes ago he murdered an entire tavern full of people, and he decides to give them a map. This map is going to lead them to their old village where the red dragon has their stomping ground. I'm gonna give this episode a 8 out of 10. It had a little bit of everything. It had some farm life, it had some slice of life, it had a tiny bit of action, it had some resolve, and it had some deeper character building. I definitely kind of blew through the episode, but I encourage you guys to watch it. There's a lot of content I kind of skipped over, and there's a lot of content I kind of like breezed through really fast, but it was definitely worth it all to check it out. From the tone to the action to the world building and the character building. Oh my gosh, those last 2 are huge. World building and character building through comedy, through maps, through just all these aspects. It feels seamless. I feel like I'm learning about this world, but like it's never boring, which is great because info dumping fucking sucks. You should never bore your audience with info dumping and world building. That should be a freaking crime. Love this episode. I'm looking forward to more. Oh, one more thing I had to point out about this episode, and it's in every episode, but they have to have like a designated team just for the food or something. They must have like Gordon Ramsay come down here and fucking like show them how they demonstrate how they make this food or whatever, because it looks really good. If there was an anime category for like best looking food, yo, you best bet, you bet your bottom dollar Delicious and Dungeon is gunning for that win, baby. That's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say, baby. This has been Ryan Reviews. My name is Ryan Herney, aka Never Lose Heart, aka Konoha Cafe, aka one half of the snack pack duo. You just got Ryan Reviewed. That doesn't make sense. Hope you guys have a great week. See ya.